It seems to me that we're stigmatizing single mothers.
Some would question whether or not single mothers are undesirable.
I am the product of a single mother. I think in a greater sense, though, single mothers are undateable.
They are not undateable. Some of these single mamas got multiple baby daddies.
Does she have a if I see a woman at the grocery store, she fine, she got a little son with her, I'm like, does he need a stepdaddy? Do y'all think that Black women like, love, and respect Black men?
There's a disconnect right off the bat based on what is respect.
Black women do not respect Black men.
There's a certain level of respect where it's like, I respect you as a human being, but do I respect you as my man? And honestly, I don't think Black women like Black men like that, for real.
I don't know of a stronger pair of individuals on the planet than a Black man and a Black woman with the same vision.
I think the problem is we have such a high expectations of what Black love should look like. When we experience Black love, we don't recognize it as love.
I do think there's a part of us that we've made Black love synonymous with struggle love.
I think that's a problem.
Welcome to this amazing episode of the BLC Pod.
Pew.
It sounds different when we do it online.
It does.
Than when we do it in person. I gotta say, man, I am super excited to have the original two with me in the building.
Yeah.
When we say in the building, I mean we in the building.
Literally.
Like I can reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this podcast a better place. Yes, we can. That's how you know it's special. You got your boy singing. But let's get into it, right? Because I got some of my people with me, the original three. Before we introduce ourselves, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. And of course, we got the merch, y'all. We all are also wearing our merch. Is that like a coincidence? Probably not. Okay, but we got to start with the first lady of the BLC Pod, SNM Jones in the building.
SNM?
All right, so I am super excited that we are live in person again. It is such a pleasure to see you two in the merch, especially this Emotional Ears one. You are killing it. I love the design. Can't wait to get mine.
Yes. Speaking of which, I got my guy, Jay. I've known this brother for, what's it been, 25, 20?
I'm running up on 30, man. Running up on 30.
Wow, what's good, my guy? Good to see you.
Hey, man, it's good to be seen. It's good to be in the building. Like, there's no better place to be on this day than where I am right now. I am so ready. I got my merch on. I got my emotional ears tuned in. It's going to be hot right now. And they can be toxic, right? But I'm going to be emotional, y'all. You'll stay with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I got to tell y'all for real, like this journey has been one, right? I remember we was on Clubhouse having those conversations on the phone, having not seen each other.
Yeah.
And about a year plus ago, we met for the first time, right? But we weren't even at the podcast space then.
No.
I wasn't there.
Right? And then over time, here we are, season 5, we just closed that out.
Yeah.
Right. And here we are together as one. The BLC is in the building.
Yeah.
One time for progress.
One time
Better, for a
stronger.
movement. Okay.
Yes. Growth.
And if we didn't mention, we got the merch. Okay. To help pay for some of this, go ahead and cop that. Okay. Because this live thing costs money. But with that, it does. I have to explain it to my old lady. Like, hey, babe, this is what we're doing. Thank God she believes in me. But anyways, man, there's so much we could talk about, but we wanted to be specific about these conversations because these are the conversations that are riveting the community. And let's start with this first conversation in regards to single mothers. Right? Now, we know there's been a lot of toxic conversations around this topic. Some would question whether or not single mothers are undesirable. Right? Or are they undateable for those who may want to take that slant? But I think generally speaking, right? Because we're typically, productive podcast, although two of us have the toxic shirt on, so we'll see how that lands. So what are y'all thoughts in regards to just a general single mother conversation? Because, our community has single mothers. We have family members who are, but there's a conversation about wanting to be with them, dating them. What are your thoughts about that? Let's start with SNM, who's not a single mother, by the way, but nonetheless, she will speak for every woman. It's all in her. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Pause on that all in her. Let's make sure we pause on that. But so it's actually interesting that this topic comes up, and it comes up a lot in our community. And part of the issue that I have with this is the fact that it seems to me that we're stigmatizing single mothers, especially in the world of dating, without recognizing that they can be single mothers, as in mothers, without somebody else's participation. But they're getting all the slack and the flack and everything that under the sun. So it's like the single mothers are the L's of the community. They're the reason why we have this. They're the reason we have that. And while there are studies that will say that people fare or children fare better in under single fathers or two-parent households, I will note that it still takes a man, a father, to create that single mother. So when we talk about being undateable, I think that's ridiculous. I think that when we say they're undateable or undesirable, they're clearly desirable because some of these single mamas got multiple baby daddies. So that means they are clearly desirable. In regards to being undateable, I also think that's a fallacy as well, because it's just a matter of the right person coming along to have that conversation or to start dating them. And once again, some of them have multiple baby daddies. So once again, they are not undateable. I think we just need to throw this whole conversation in the toilet when it comes to this characterization that we have of single mothers.
Okay, I disagree. I'm no shocker, right? I disagree. I think that single mothers, and I am the product of a single mother. My mom and my dad got divorced shortly after I was born, whatever. So, but I think single mothers are desirable for some people. Some people, they want the family. They want to know that this is a woman who can take care of people, but she has bigger dreams, whatever. I think in a greater sense, though, single mothers are undateable. Now, don't hate me. I know you're going to hate me anyway, but let me explain why. Y'all don't have time, okay? By your own admission, you don't have time. Whether it's on Tinder or whatever you swiping on, I have kids and my kids come first. Okay, well, go do that. You go do that. Because if I want to go out and you're like, nah, it's a school night, baby, Lynn, I want to go kick it with somebody who can go out. And it's no shade against you. You've already got a job. It's being a single parent. I salute you. I've been a single parent. It's hard work. So I salute you. But I'm going to tell you like my mama told me, till you get done doing the parenting thing, you might not want to hook up with nobody. Because blended families are hard. They are harder than regular families, okay? And dating somebody with kids is hard because you're never going to be first. You might tie for second or third, but you'll never be first. So if you want to be in a relationship where you're first, yeah, don't go for the single mom, bro. They are undateable for you. Go ahead.
Wow. Jay said undateable for you. I don't know. I mean, there's some single moms who will abdicate their responsibilities of motherhood to fuck with you. You know?
No, mothers.
You know, I'm going to leave Johnny.
Right.
I'm going to leave Johnny with the grandmama because I want to get this peen real quick. You know how
I support getting the peen.
So I feel like there might be some of those women who might be a little bit more dateable, but then the conundrum is, do you want to date a woman who doesn't prioritize their kids? That is a conundrum, right? Because you want her to be available to you, but at the same time, if she's not available enough, we can't fuck with them. But I do think there's some merit to what you're saying, right? And the thing is, we just got to be honest a little bit. Because when I hear men having this conversation around single mothers, I think what I hear them saying is we're concerned about what's the father looking like in the picture? Is he there or not? Like, there's a lot of testosterone here. I've actually heard some brothers say if he's dead or imprisoned or whatever, then yeah, I probably would consider it because they don't want to have that friction with the child's fathers for a certain extent, you know, to a certain extent. So I do understand that, like, for men, especially, like, for example, if you're a guy who did it the right way per se, right? You went to school, you got your education, you ain't got no kids. I think it's fair for that guy to say, you know what, I want to start a family anew myself to a certain extent, right? I want to meet a woman who doesn't have any children and we're building this legacy together. And some of the conversations that I hear men say is like, yo, that dude deserves to put himself in a position where he shouldn't have to settle or, you know, lower his standards to a certain extent because we love hearing that standards word. You know what I mean? A lot. You know, it's only a problem when men use it. You know what I'm saying? Like, women can have all the standards in the world. But as long as a brother says, hey, man, you know what I mean? I'm going to need a little bit more work. You know what I mean? So it's a problem. So I don't think they're necessarily undateable. Like, I don't, that's, depending on the guy, I do agree with you. But there's some guys out there, bruh, the best you going to do is shorty. Right? She working, she's responsible, she's a good mom. Like, the best you gonna do is shorty over here, so you don't do yourself any favor by thinking you're better than that. necessarily. Now, the undesirable part, what are we talking about? Does she have a fat ass? you know what I mean? If she's fire, she's going to be desired, okay? Kid or nah. You know what I mean? I didn't meet her with the kid. And low-key, if I see a woman at the grocery store, she fire, she got a little son with her, I'm like, does he need a stepdaddy? You know? Now, I'm not trying to really be the stepdaddy. I'm just thinking about having sex with her and then leaving her on lurch when she expects me to step up and take the responsibility of being a stepfather. I'm kidding. These are just jokes. But there are some guys who do approach the situation that way. And I do think that when women have the responsibility of children and others that she's within her care, she has to discern better to a certain extent. So maybe she's too busy, but also maybe she's just a little picky. And I think single mothers have to be, because you're bringing a whole other person potentially in your life and you want like a relationship. So I just want to push back on all like the podcasts like, oh, don't date a single. Stop playing.
Let me throw one more thing on
Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to say, let me put it in this way. Single parents have unfinished business. If you don't mind helping somebody finish their unfinished business, then they are right for you. If you want it to be about your business and nobody else's business, then you don't need a single parent.
I'm just going to add on to this. First of all, if you're going to date a single parent or a single mother, I would just say this. How we say date within your wage group, right? So if you know you don't want to have somebody be with somebody who have children, then don't date somebody with children. This is not the person that you should be scoping out, looking for, and so forth. Don't waste your time. Don't waste her time. Keep it moving. But if you're okay with her having a child or two, then go ahead and move accordingly, and then recognize the responsibilities that may or may not come with that based on the conversation that you may have with that woman who you're trying to date. Because some women don't even want you touching their child or getting to know their child until y'all 6 months in, 7 months in, and whatnot. So it's not always going to be, as soon as you get involved with a single mother, all of a sudden it becomes, I'm stepdaddy. There's no stepdaddy responsibilities until it's determined that stepdaddy responsibilities may come about. And it's also based on what you decide too. Like if you decide you want to step into the role as the stepdaddy, then go ahead and own that role. But then don't turn around and hate when she's too busy because her child's going to come first. And it's true, the child will come first if she's a good parent, you know? And so basically what I'm saying is that there's plenty of people out there. There's a lot of women now who refuse to date men with children. And so just date what you want, what you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable with single mamas, then stay the hell out their way because they are busy and they don't got time for your foolery. So kick rocks.
I mean, but come on, man. You know, so many single mamas do got time for your foolery. Okay, those are my favorite single mamas.
Between the hours of 11 p.m. and 3 a.m.
I mean, you know, the ones who got the bullshit. Like, you gonna leave Johnny. Now, I got a conscience. I can't leave Johnny at 7 at the crib by himself. I'll come over. You know, like, we can be quiet. You know what I'm saying? Not make any noises. Single moms need love too. I gotta stop playing. You know what I mean? But I gotta push back because I get. I mean, but here's a conundrum though. I think right, like. If I get married to someone, and I wonder like how many of us as men feel like we should be prioritized. Like, I mean, honestly, yeah, I got a kid, but I'm still number one, right? I get it. Like he needs more than me. So being number one doesn't mean that she's got to tend to my needs necessarily. But if there's a choice between giving him some milk and getting some of my milk, you already know what time it is.
Wow.
You know? I mean, it depends on how hungry it is. We just use a little nigga.
You said giving him some milk and giving her some of my milk?
It's just a play on words. But you know, I believe the conversation there. I thought that was pretty good, though.
It was good. I wasn't ready.
I mean, I feel like it's one of the ways that she can show how much she likes, loves, and respects me to pivot to the second point of the conversation, right? Because the question I have for y'all is, do Black women love Black men, like Black men, respect Black men for real, for real? We've heard the conversations, and maybe because of the single mother conversation, maybe there's friction there, right? So yes, I love you, but I ain't really feeling you right now. But generally speaking, do y'all think that Black women like, love, and respect Black men based off of the conversations that we've been having? Not us specifically, but just in the culture and how it's showing up. We'll start with the Black women. Who's going to say for all Black women here?
I'm going to go ahead and say that I think there's some confusion in regards to the word respect. Right. And so I think that right now in this generation, Black women and women in general don't understand what respect may look like for the Black man or what respect may look like for men in general, because our definition or interpretation of respect is completely different from what their interpretation of respect is. And that shows up differently, too. So if this man states that XYZ equals respect for him, and in general, this XYZ equals respect, the woman may say, hey, I feel respect is ABC. And so there's a disconnect right off the bat based on what is respect. But if I had to answer the question, first of all, Black women will always love Black men. Like, come on. Like, even the divestors, they low-key love y'all, even though they divesting. And they're only divesting because they felt like they didn't feel the love from y'all. So Black women will always love Black men. Now, respect Black men now, that's another story. And so once we define what respect is, then we can determine if Black women respect Black men. I would like to say yes, but then I know that
you'd be wrong.
Not according to social media. You know what I'm saying? Not according to social media. Social media got us disrespecting y'all left and right. And so the echo chambers got y'all being disrespected. And so I can't say in social media world, the answer would be no. But in life, I think it's yes. You know, your mama respects you, your wife respects you, your daughters respect you. So Black women respect you.
Okay, so I think, so you make a good point that the respect issue is a little cloudy. Maybe the words are a little nebulous or whatever. But if we just look at respect means to look, means to do over. So respect is to take a second look, to give them extra regard, extra concern, right? And no, Black women do not respect Black men. Now, you said Black women love Black men. I have a problem with that because you can't love what you don't understand. And clearly, Black women do not understand Black men. So I think Black women tolerate Black men because we are part of a matching set. Because in order for them to have the candle, the wax figures on top of the cake that they envisioned when they were 3 years old or 5 and playing with their homegirls, they need to get this accessory, which is this Black male. That's why he's got to come 6 feet tall with 6 figures and the other 6. I forgot what it was. Because he's not a person. He's a thing. He's an object. So I think they tolerate us because we are necessary to fulfill this Black love idea or whatever. We're necessary for their friends to feel like they have made it and accomplished and that so they can get that validation or whatever. But when it comes to really loving a Black man, to really understanding what makes him work, what makes him tick, like how to feed his soul, no, that's not happening.
So I disagree because I'm going to tell you why I disagree. Okay. So I can understand a certain portion of Black women may just tolerate Black men because those women may have settled for that Black man that they're with. But for those who didn't have to settle, then why would it not be love and respect?
Will you take a majority versus minority position? Which one do you think is a majority? The respecters or the disrespecters?
That's a good point. And I got to interject here because I think Jay makes a solid point because I think for some of us, as a Black man, I'm obviously in a relationship with someone that I feel like loves and respects and likes me, right? And I think for most of us in these relationships, we like to think that. But Jay brings up an excellent point because that may not be the case in general, right? The real question here is that the case in general? Can we say 51% of, let's say, this group does this thing, right? And if we're talking about in general, it is a question that deserves to be asked, to be honest, right? Because when we were talking earlier or in a previous episode, we talked about simp music and how guys would show up a certain type of way with the expectation they would get that kind of reciprocity from the woman that they're dating, right? Nowadays, that may not be the case, right? Sometimes it's deemed as thirsty or you're doing too much, right? So for a lot of people, that actually becomes a challenge for them in terms of how they are able to kind of like come together, essentially. You know what I mean? So, and then when you add that onto the single mother situation, for example, right, where you have these responsibilities and it's hard for you to show up for that guy that you necessarily want to be in a relationship with. So I think from guys, what they're saying is the way that y'all are showing up, it's not giving love and respect. It's not giving like. I think there are some women who have the potential, the capability. You hear oftentimes women will say the right man comes along. It's almost like you got to be the guy who can pull the sword out of the rock to get that. So I think in general, it's not showing up that way. But I think at the heart of it, Black women do love, sometimes like, and depending on the nigga, respect them, right? I think, right?
We can go with that. I can co-sign on that.
Right? Okay, we can agree on that. Sometimes you said sometimes, like, and with the right guy, may respect.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Maybe respect, but will respect.
Because first of all, respect to me is very interesting because some people just think you just give people respect. Some people think you have to earn respect to a certain extent. I think there's a certain level of respect where it's like, I respect you as a human being, but do I respect you as my man or as my woman? Do I respect you as a person I'm willing to follow? And I think legitimately, and I hate to say this, that Black women have some legit reasons to feel like I have some questions, right? And I think, and now that I think about it, wow, I'm about to do a whole about face for a second, right? Because I'm wondering if Black men are hearing this the same way Black women hear the criticism that we have for them. right? So if they're saying, hey, sir, in order for me to respect you as a leader, you have to lead. And we're saying, why are you bashing all black men, right? Right? Is it fair for her to say, if I am going to lay down my autonomy and my whatever to you, that I have to have a certain level of regard, and that a lot of the ways that men are showing up, I don't have that regard for. So that's why I said initially, I think most women probably are built to love black men, I think, just based off historically. But I think they've been conditioned to require for black men to show up a certain type of way for them to gain the respect part, right? And honestly, I don't think black women like black men like that, for real. I think that's where the truth of this conversation is on fire. Because the liking part is where you might go that extra mile. It brings that little extra smile, right? I think, so to your point, they may not like us. Right. They'll love us. They'll respect us, but they'll be liking us a lot sometimes, which is why we're going to get the hair that we want. Either she'll like us or the act itself. Right.
Good point.
But if she really
But you know I like it, so you're right.
Yeah, so I think y'all with me on that one. What you think, SNM?
So look, I'm just going to say this. I think that if we look at social media, so you asked if I had to put a number on it. Yes. So I would say that the conditioning is very strong, right? Because we've been conditioned to expect black men to do a certain thing, act a certain way. And if we're constantly having the conversation about leadership and submission and so forth, then that lack of respect could come in play there if we feel like you don't have a mission, a vision, or can lead us in the right direction. Because I can follow you, but where the hell are you leading me to? Are you leading me off a cliff, off a wall? Are we about to have a car crash?
You was heading that way by yourself anyway, girl. Not you specifically, but the women saying this by yourself. You don't even like driving.
But that's even more reason why, if I don't like driving as a woman, as an example, then why am I going to get somebody else who don't like driving either, or supposed to be driving, but don't know the direction that we need to go and not willing to ask for input for those directions to get us to where we need to go. And so that's where the disrespect may come in, because it's like, well, you do have to prove it to me, because it's no longer you get respect. It's basically you get respect to get respect. You give respect to get respect, get respect to get respect. And so I think that's part of the conversation there. But I also think that part of that conditioning is that, so you guys, and I will acknowledge this as much as I hate to admit it, you guys had a whole campaign against black men for a long time pertaining to them being thugs, criminals, and so forth. And now that this all has been disproven through multiple studies, social media, and even presence, then it becomes, okay, well, how do we come back from that? How can we show respect outside of that realm, respecting you as individuals versus as a monolith, right? And so that's where that conversation comes in with that conditioning as well. So we're just now moving to the part where we're no longer looking at you guys under this imagery, but perhaps looking at you under this other imagery. So yes, I will say that sometimes we just don't like y'all.
Yeah, I agree with that part. I think that's what it is. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, no, agree with that.
As far as I like the part.
I think SNM is completely on point with that. I think that there's this breakup or whatever between the identity that black men have had for so long, and there are men who are showing up, but as SNM was saying, the monolithic shift in the way black men are viewed hasn't happened yet. So each black men are not loved just because they're black men.
Right.
You know what I mean? Now, because they're black men, they're giving the opportunity that you can apply for this thing or whatever, but you still have to be I would hope, a certain level of black man, right, to entice a woman, and then you get to whatever you want to get to. I think that's what SNM is saying. But as a whole, through this thug culture and all these other things, yeah, our stock has fallen. And there's a lot to not love about the way we've shown up publicly over the last 20 or 30 years.
Yeah, no, sorry, because this black woman who loves me was actually reaching out to make sure she's good. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I mean, honestly, I think, I don't know, for me, I think I have a baseline of respect for people. I think most people probably operate with okay, as a stranger, I respect you as a human being, right? And there's different gradients of how you might want to respect a person a little bit more. You may not have the same regard for a stranger that you might have for your significant other, a boss at work or whatever. So I think there's just different levels of respect. So I'm just going to say, I think as human beings, we can have a certain baseline level of respect, but some of the conversations that we're having, or at least we're hearing in the public space, sounds disrespectful. And it shows a certain lack of regard. You mentioned respect is double. Some people ain't even showing the first level, right? And I just think it's not that hard to show a certain level of regard. Even if I'm not into, let's say, this group of women, I can still respect them, right? And I think the problem, though, with the culture is that it's so much easier to just disrespect people unnecessarily, right? We don't have to just respect them. So for me, I do think we are being conditioned to have a lack of respect for each other, but I still want to hold firm and believe in my black women out there that they do still respect us at a core level, right? But I think they don't like us a lot sometimes, and you got to work to get the love. Any thoughts before we get up out of here?
Thanks. No.
I feel so bad because I'm going to co-sign on that statement again. And I feel bad. I feel like I'm betraying the womanhood, but I'm going to go ahead and co-sign on that statement.
But, I think part of it is because there's a certain level of dysfunction when we talk about Black love, right? And that's the next topic we want to talk about real quickly is the level of, it seems like ride or die. I know you're big on that, right? For example, ride or die is maybe a little dysfunctional. Right? Like ride or die is a little, maybe, I don't know if I disagree with that, but we'll see, right? And then even monogamy, right? For some people could be a problem because did we settle for monogamy? Is that what we wanted? Or did we have to negotiate?
It was forced upon us.
Yes. So, which honestly, if you think about it, it can create a cycle where you get in relationships, then you're cheating or you're stepping out on the relationship, you have breakups, breaking home. So what is it about love? It has Black love, and I hate to say this because with the whole Remy Ma and Papoose thing, that used to be like the little hip hop face of Black love, and we see what's happening there. So is Black love just a myth now? Is it something that sounds good that we promote? Is it something that we just identify as struggle now? It has to be toxic in order for it to be real? Like, what are your thoughts in terms of the dysfunction that seems to be the case on Black love?
Black love is an ideal. It's an ideal. And it's an ideal because it is ideal. I don't know of a stronger pair of individuals on the planet than a Black man and a Black woman with the same vision. I think I think what they can accomplish is untold. So yeah, Black love is a real thing. I'll go back and say again though, you can't love what you don't understand. You can tolerate it. You can maybe even like it sometimes, but you won't love it because you don't really understand how it works. You don't really understand that when it does this, it actually means this. When it looks like that, it's because it's actually asking for this. I think that's what's missing. So, I think I got off my point a little bit.
No,
come here. I think you landed. It's like, I landed. Go ahead.
Question. So I'm a romantic, I guess, and I didn't even think of this but I believe in Black love. I think Black love does exist. I think the problem is we have such a high expectations of what Black love should look like that when we experience Black love in the form that we may experience it in, we don't recognize it as love. We might be like, oh, this was some BS, or we're quick to throw it away because at the same time, we're like, oh, Black love should be this happy ever after without recognizing that we need to work for this. And it's constantly working. And when I say work, people immediately get turned off. Like, what do you mean I got to work? Well, you work at going to work, you work at living your own life. So you need to work at your love too. And so that means showing up in the relationship, basically, showing up in your relationship, doing the things that you need to do to keep that relationship thriving and going. And that includes having communication and so forth. So, it may be because, like I said, I'm a romantic. I believe in Black love. I believe I have Black love. I've been married for 26 years. And so it took a lot of work. People are like, oh, how are you able to stay married for so long? Well, shit. Sometimes I ask that question too, but then at the end of the day, I realized it's because I was willing to put the work in. I was willing to do the compromise. I was willing to collaborate. And it comes from thinking of a different mindset of just thinking that, oh, we're going to be happily ever after and right off into the sunset, which is what Disney has fooled us into believing, and recognizing that, hey, it's a cooperation and collaboration throughout the course of a lifetime.
It's funny. Because I believe in Black love. Because it'd be hard not to believe in Black love when you're living it every day. Love you, baby. Right? You got to say that so I don't have no trouble.
That's nice. That's
but even though there's some truth there. But real talk, 20 years, right? It's like, it's hard not to believe in it. We still like each other. So that's why I believe there's some of us who get that.
You can do that.
Yeah. But I think the problem is that one of the things I realize is that a healthy relationship can be boring. A healthy relationship may not be exciting. And so sometimes people get turned off of those things because, in other words, the way that Black love shows up today has changed throughout the years. Like for me, I think about Black love in the context of my son watching me interact with his mother, my wife, like, hey, this could be something that we can model for him. But some people may watch reality TV and model their love after the most popular couple, for example, in the moment. Or whatever celebrity couple is popping right now, they want to mimic that, right? Christian, Rock.
Yeah, that's what I thought of.
Like, so even like one of the ride or dies for us, which was Will and Jada, and we see what that turned out to be for real to a certain extent, right? Bobby and Whitney, right? In terms of like the way that, if you think about through the years, right? Because there was a point where Thug Lovin', which featured Bobby Brown, and we kind of thought about Bobby and Whitney being the idea of Black love. So what I'm saying is, over the years, we've gotten these images of Black love that I just don't think were the healthiest. it was cool, it was popping, it was Bonnie and Clyde. But shit, did Bonnie and Clyde live happily ever after? I don't think so.
No, they didn't.
Right? And so somehow the Shakespearean version, in other words, the tragedy that somehow that tied into the thing that made us alive became normalized, I think, through social media. Where it's like, okay, yes, listen, I ain't gonna hold you. My son gets excited about family night, right? And that means that we're watching 24 while he watches his iPad, okay? In the living room together. I know. This may not be exciting for some of you, but trust me, on our on days, it does get a little exciting. But the point is, sometimes you have to prioritize things differently and I think appreciate things differently. And unfortunately, we tend to like the exciting. We tend to prioritize the drama and all of the extra energy. And I think that's what has people mimicking relationship behavior that tends to be toxic. It's unhealthy for the most part. So I do think there's a part of us that we've made Black love synonymous with struggle love. Now, I will say this, though, to the struggle part, because I do think when you've had to work for something, like, so we talk about 20 plus years, there was some struggle in there, right? Early on, we were poor, kind of, right? Had to build together. There's a certain level of accomplishment that when you knew that, hey, we started off rubbing 2 nickels and now look at what we done did, right? So the struggle to me adds depth. Mm-hmm. It adds a certain level of we worked on this together. So I know when we hear struggle love today, especially Black men, oh my God, struggle love, that means I got to pay all the bills by myself. No, it does mean that things may get hard. It does mean we got to push through those things to keep moving forward. And I feel like that adds a certain level of permanence or a foundation. Like the fact that we were able to work through that and we still here. Like the biggest flex for me, low key, in my relationship, in my marriage, is the fact that we still like each other. The love is there, the respect is there, but we still be laughing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, dealing with the sir together. So I feel like Black love still is there, and it does not have to be struggle for it to be Black. But I do think there's a lot of us that because our existence here has been filled with struggle.
That's that part.
There's a part where we kind of relate to it. It resonates that we feel like it has to be like our future. It may have been part of our past, and it's a part of our present that we're shaking. But I do think we can work towards a better future, though, to that end.
I think you're right. I think what you're hitting on is a mindset thing, right? We think of Black love, we do think of struggle love because it's hard to think of Black in America without thinking of struggle. You know what I mean? Our whole identity in this place has been nothing but struggle. Even now it's struggle. So struggle love, okay, it happens. Excuse me. But the idea is that struggle is where we start from. It's never where we stay. You know what I mean? So where we talk about struggle love, we forget to talk about triumphant love. You know what I'm saying? We forget to talk about all the things that this couple has overcome. Every couple that's been through hard times and still together should really be closer because whether you admit it or not, no matter how bad your hard time was, right, Black people, you got past it. So you're really stronger. So you really triumphed. But you can define that period in your life by the struggle or you can define it by the triumph. And that's up to you.
But so I understand that. And as somebody who, you know, this is where I think the ride or die concept come from. And I think that sometimes the ride or die concept actually do a disservice to us, right? In our relationships as part of that Black love, as part of that struggle, because we've been conditioned to believe that we're supposed to be ride or die no matter what, right? We have songs that talk about the bottom chick, the ride or die chick, and so forth, the Bonnie and Clyde that we talked about earlier. And I think that's part of the awakening that we're kind of experiencing because there's a lot of women who are saying that we no longer want to be that ride or die because they're equating ride or die with struggle. And in some cases, it is struggle. And in some cases, it's actually outright embarrassment. We did in season 5, we did a episode pertaining to Draka and how with Kevin Gates, she was ride or die. And then he ended up embarrassing her multiple times. And it was like, okay, well, at what point does it become from ride or die to let me get the hell out of here because it's about respect to myself now? Where do my self-respect start? And so I think oftentimes when we talk about struggle up and then we talk about ride or die, this is the disconnect that we're now experiencing in our community because there's a lot of people saying, well, I'm not willing to ride or die. And that's be it man or woman, because now men are coming to say, hey, why do I have to struggle with you too? Like, let's us build together and move together. And that's also a concept that for some reason, which I don't know why it's considered novel in our community, considering that Black women and Black men have always built together because this has always been the situation. Black women have always worked. But anyways, regardless of the case, I think we're coming to a situation where there's too many people who are now looking at thriving. So they're definitely viewing Black love itself as struggle love. And that's why you have so many divestors, because they're like, we don't want to struggle. They don't even equate soft life with Black love. They only equate soft life with Blackness. And I think that's a problem.
Well, I'll say this about the ride or die things. I know it kind of bothers you a little bit to a certain extent, but I feel like, if you're a Black man and you're thinking about the things you have to deal with out there in the world, like if I get pulled over by the police, God forbid I get hemmed up on some charges, are you going to be there with me through that situation, right? Are you going to hold me down? I didn't do this, girl. You're going to leave me hanging? So I think for us as Black men, we think about the things that we're going to face outside. And so when we say ride or die, I think most of us don't mean we're going to have you hemmed up on some drug charges because we had a pack in your hoo-ha. Okay?
Right.
We're not doing that, right? Most of us are not. But I think just idealistically, men still want that. We want to know that no matter what we deal with, the woman that we're going to commit our lives to is going to hold us down. Now, depending on the man that you pick may determine the struggle that you'll have to go through with that man. But I want to say that most guys, even myself, listen, I've been fortunate enough not to put my wife in any type of situations to where, we've had to struggle like that. But there have been some downturns a little bit where things were not rosy, and she stuck it out with me, which may endeared her to me, right? Which made me want to give her the world at the end of the day. I feel like a lot of people want to get everything, but don't want to put forth the work necessary. And anything that looks like hard work is struggle. And there's a difference between, hey, I worked hard. If I'm going to the gym, I'm lifting weights, I'm trying to get thick or whatever, that's me putting in the hard work. I would not look at that as a struggle, right? So I feel like a lot of times people look at that as struggle and then they don't want to put the work in, and then they want results that are not commiserate with the effort that they're putting in, right? So I just think I get it. Because especially with women, I hate to say it, because sometimes when I hear y'all say, oh, I don't want to struggle, love, what many hear is, I don't want to do no work. I don't want to put forth no effort.
I don't want to experience it.
I just want to show up. I think, right? And I think any reasonable dude would feel like, nah, it's not that I'm not asking you, I want you to, I'm not asking you to hide this pack for me, even though it's in my favorite Jay-Z song. I'm asking that if shit gets dark, that you're not going to leave me as soon as I lose my job. Right? As soon as something bad happens, all of a sudden I have no value to you. And I think that's what guys mean when they write it down. But listen, we can go on and on. This has been an amazing conversation. I'm going to reach out and touch you. Reach out and touch somebody.
I was like,
But listen, before we get out of here, right? Our first in-person episode after 5 seasons. You're there. So how do y'all feel, man? It's about to be in the can. What are your thoughts?
Well, so I'm always excited because I'm excited to see you guys, work with you guys, and to know how far we've come, because I still think about the first time I tried to meet with you guys, right? It was in a strip club. And so
Don't ask. Go ahead.
And it was like, okay, and this was just on the Clubhouse app. So to see this progression and to be here, I'm so excited, and sometimes being excited, I was a little nervous, had a little slip up, and, I want to give homage to that slip up. And so, but I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate you two coming out here. I appreciate the fact that we're able to connect and have these real conversations, because one of the reasons why we started the pod was that we wanted to recognize that there was too much division between Black men and Black women. How can we start healing this divide in this gender war? Because at the end of the day, the gender war doesn't serve anybody but everybody else. It doesn't serve us. It serves everybody else. So let's start healing that, because without the Black man and Black woman, you can't have a Black unit, Black family, which means you can't have Black economics, which means you can't have any Black political power in the U.S. that's true to the Black family. So that's where I'm at with that. And that's why I appreciate you, brothers.
Yeah, what's up?
SNM broken all the way down.
All the way down to the molecule.
Right. Ain't much left for me here but to say that the in-person is fire. It's great to see y'all. You, my boy, I met SNM a couple of years ago, but we hadn't got a chance to get together, and it's something different when you're in the presence of the person. The energy is just so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's cool. So we're going to do this again. Y'all go ahead and ask for it. You know what I'm saying? I might speed it up a little bit, but it's definitely going to happen again. Had a great time. I wish we could talk more, but,
we will.
We got stuff to do.
We got more talking to do.
We got more talking to do, too.
Yeah.
That's good.
Listen, I'll land by saying this. Let this be a testament to progress, right? Because it started off as a conversation on Clubhouse. We weren't making any money. We didn't have any platform and no merch. We just had an idea. And so since then, over the past almost 2 years now, it's been about a year, a little bit over half, we've been working on doing a podcast and refinement. If you go back and watch those first episodes off of StreamYard, you'd be amazed at how far we've come to the point that we're here. So for me, more importantly, this is all about progress. This is like just not even the beginning, because we've already started, but I think certainly a next level, if you will, that we are reaching in our journey as podcasters, as the BLC Pod. So I am thankful and excited that both of you guys are in the building. You know what I'm saying? I got my original people with me on behalf.
No.
Oh, yeah. Now, listen, I'll be remiss if I did not say, listen, Delvin, Tia, we miss y'all. They couldn't join us on this live episode, so hopefully in the future that'll be the case. And don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and all that good stuff. And of course, we got the merch, y'all. Pew, 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 pew. I'm not toxic. I'm toxic with a Q-U-E. That's right. On behalf of SNM Jones and Just Jay, I am Nic Nice. This is the BLC Pod. We'll see you next time. Until then, be easy.